Welcome back, Descendants. This is my first impressions of the Season 3 Breakthrough demo. Some things that I noticed with Nell and the Hoverbike. I got some pros and cons to go over, so let's go ahead and get into it with our gameplay. I like the whole desert look here. There is always the big concern that the area, while wide open, feels empty and not alive with lots of enemies and things moving around. But let's keep in mind here that this is definitely a demo, so we can't expect a whole heck of a lot, but I'll still give my pros and cons here. We are definitely going to start with Nell. All right, so let's get busy. I have played through this a few times, so we're going to play around with Nell. We're going to follow the beacons here. We see this whole wide open area. There are block offs, invisible walls, but we'll come to that in just a bit. So as we move up, we have this cool... Do not use it for Vulgus. Yeah, we're not going to listen to that. We're going to nuke this drop pod. That is a really cool effect there, being able to destroy a giant ship and all the enemies that are within it. Alright, this looks like an area from the Summer Games Fest, or actually an area from the first anniversary. Oh, I must have killed it. So notice here that her fourth is not loopable at the moment. I don't know if this is a bug or if this is the way that they've intended it, but it's definitely not something that I feel is warranted. I feel like we should be able to loop that ability a lot. One thing I really like doing is just grouping everything up with now. I really want to use my own weapons here, but you know, it's the demo. Everything's very, very limited. We have this big old guy. This dude is awesome. I love being able to like rip his armor off like that. That is so cool. And we mark him and we tag, and then we do just exuberant amount of weak point damage. Drawing this out just a little bit here so that we can get plenty of good footage. Alright, now we get another really cool big guy here. We are going to target with this and try and pull that armor off. He's pretty darn fast. The other guy was not threatening at all. This guy actually has some threatening auras to him. He's rolling around like Armored Armadillo there for any Mega Man fans. That's a cool attack I haven't seen yet. So I also can't activate the fort in the air. Now that we've got through the basic sort of combat that was there, I want to draw attention to a couple things about the bike. Now, you can jump on the bike, you can shift on the bike, you can, boost on the bike, jump and grapple and dismount and everything from it. But one of my main complaints here is with the Hoverbike. So if you see on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, we've got our jump, which is on a cooldown, which is okay. That's fine. But our shift gives us a boost, and as long as we hold shift, we can continue to use that meter down. However, shift is always on that cooldown. I don't like the boost being on a cooldown. I want to be able to boost as long as I have meter. So if I let up with that boost, I still have meter left, I can't use boost again until the cooldown is done. I feel like the boost meter and being able to boost as long as I have meter there should be that should be it. I don't think boost should be on a cooldown. The other thing that feels really clunky with the bike here is if I want to turn around and say I'm going one direction and I just want to do a quick turnaround, if you try to do that on the hover bike, this is what happens. You have to take this really cumbersome, long sort of half circle to go around. You can't really do a lot with it. There's no like quick turning. Even when you're boosting, like there's no quick turn, there's no drift slide. There's nothing like that currently that's in the game. If you want a really quick turnaround, you have to either, even jumping won't do it. You have to grapple off of your bike to do a quick turnaround and then pull your bike back out. And you'll see, if I want to do a quick turnaround here, you got to do this like half circle type thing, right? But if I want to quick turn around and use a grapple, I jump, I grapple out, I make more distance, and I turn around faster, jumping off the bike and doing a grapple, or grappling and resummoning the bike. And resummoning the bike doesn't have a cooldown. I think that's pretty cool, but I really don't like the very slow and cumbersome turnaround here. Even if you are boosting, your turnaround is insane. It really kind of stinks. In addition to that, the characters look pretty mobile while they're on the bike. You can see Nell here's leaning off to the side. You can see she's kind of leaning forward into it, pulling back. The hair has good movement. But if you're jumping around on the bike, there's not much movement with your character that's there. There's a little bit, but you don't feel the impact of landing with the bike. And I feel like there should be a little more character movement on there, just to give it a little more of a oomph, more of a feedback feel that you're kind of landing with a bike that's there. And like we discussed previously, with Nell, her fourth ability here is the one that you want to have up as often as possible. Okay, you want to have this up because this is going to give you all of your firearm attacks are going to just immediately target weak points. You'll also increase the weak point damage of herself and nearby allies. The problem with this is I feel like it should work like Glay's third ability. So when we activate Frenzy and then we activate our infinite ammo on Glay, you'll see that the cooldown on that ability starts up immediately after activation so that we can infinitely loop this to have infinite ammo on Glay. It's just part of the deal here. And I really feel like that this should be a thing on Nell as well, because just like Glay, it's a critical part of her kit. So you saw how Glay's ability went on a cooldown as soon as we used it. Two things with Nell. We can't activate this ability while in the air. So if we're trying to be evasive and move around our enemies that we have grouped up with our second ability here, and we're trying to move around and activate our 4, we can't do that. We can only activate our 4 on the ground. And if you'll notice, now that our fourth ability is active, it didn't immediately go on cooldown. So it doesn't act like a straight buff like other abilities do. You have to wait until this ability is over for it to go on a cooldown. So depending on what you have your cooldown set to and drop down to for this ability, you're going to be that long without having your automatic weak point damage buffs for you and your weak point damage for your team. Here it's 20 seconds. I really feel like this should be similar to Glay's third ability, where you can activate it in the air, or you can have it go on cooldown as soon as you activate it, so you can infinitely loop this. Because you want to infinitely loop this, because this is like one of the main driving factors of Nell. The auto weak point damage, it's one of her biggest draws, is the auto weak point damage and the increased weak point damage that's there. And you can obviously extend that by using Nell's first ability up to a certain point. I think now it's only 24 seconds. It really seems like we should be able to loop this. And I hope that it's something that comes into the actual season or a change that gets made for the actual season, and one of the core pieces of Nell's kit. We slow enemies down in the breach and get increased weak point damage against them. We have our 4 active all the time so that we can have auto weak point aiming and we can have increased weak point damage. We use our 1 to continuously add a little bit of time to that, a max increase of 24 seconds. It doesn't matter how long the duration of this is. What matters is that it doesn't hit cooldown until the ability is over. Gaze of the Abyss needs to have its cooldown start as soon as we activate it so that we can infinitely loop this, as again, it's part of her core skills. So as far as other things with the Hoverbike go, it's pretty fast. It feels really good. And I want to give a big shout out here to the nameless fellow that we got. Krypto, the super dog, is probably what he should be named, because the fellow keeps up with you no matter how fast you're going. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's right there by my side. He is ready to go, and he's going wherever you're going to go. He is so fast and keeps up with your bike. I absolutely love it. I don't know if this is an oversight, but it's a little detail that I feel like just is awesome that your pup can keep up with you. We all have concerns about Wall Crasher, right? We can use the Hoverbike while around other Colossi and stuff, and every time we were near the Wall Crasher in the other videos that we had seen before, it was kind of a forced perspective. We didn't really see a good amount of how tall he was because everything was like this. We just had this perspective. Well, I'm here to show you that you really don't have to worry too much about it. He can stomp you, but you are still no bigger than his toe. You're no taller than his toes. Okay, he is huge. He's huge. He has plenty of weak points to hit. He's got there's so much that's there. It's an absolutely huge dude. And I'm pleased with how large that he turned out and how large this arena is. I'm really hoping that we'll be able to fight him at some point outside of the arena. As you'll see in the cutscene after this, we actually see him out in the open area.
Descendant, do you read me? A powerful void storm is approaching the Axian plains. Energy readings are approaching Sigma level. Evacuate to safety before it's too late. Descendant, this looks like a dimensional breach in progress. I repeat, dimensional breach. Colossus inbound.
Nell, what's happening?
A dimensional breach has opened directly onto the Axiom plane.
And as we'll see here, the Wall Crasher actually shows up in the plains itself. So this gives me some hope that we will be able to fight this gigantic Colossus out in the open area of the plains. It may just be copium at this point, but I'm really hoping we get a chance to do that. Well, there you go, Descendants. That's my experience through the Season 3 breakthrough demo. Like I said, it is kind of short, But there are some things that are cool about it, and there's some things that I think I'm gonna want changed before season 3 launches. We'll see if Nexon listens to this, but I appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to it. You got any other thoughts about the demo? Leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Vanguard's always live in the evenings over on Twitch. Stop on by, check us out. We can offer you carefree, stress-free, and ego-free help whenever you're looking for it. And until the next time we meet, Zero out.